Welcome to this explainer. Right now, running continuously beneath the surface of your conscious experience, there's a highly sophisticated, deeply interconnected biological machine. And today, we're pulling back the curtain on this hidden operating system. We're going to dive into some incredible research from neuroscientists, sleep researchers, and longevity experts to decode exactly how your daily habits are literally reprogramming your biology, moment by moment.
It's a question that demands a total shift in how we look at our own well-being. Think about it. We usually treat our daily symptoms, that mid-morning brain fog, the 3 p.m. fatigue, that background hum of anxiety, we treat them as isolated glitches. We think a bad night of sleep just needs a pill, or a slow metabolism just needs a new diet. But what if they aren't isolated problems at all? What if they're actually a sequence of incredibly precise biological dominoes?
The sources we're exploring today reveal a profound perspective shift. Health is not just a collection of separate habits. It is an emergent property. It's the emergent result of interconnected processes happening all at once. Your daily behaviors are literally the code programming this biological machine. Your sleep dictates your hormones. Those hormones influence your nervous system, and your nervous system determines exactly how you age. So to optimize our lives, we have to decode this software.
Let's start with Section 1, the tired but wired paradox, and decoding that dreaded 2 a.m. wake-up.
It's a scenario almost all of us have experienced, right? It's 2 a.m., your body is utterly exhausted. You feel heavy, completely drained, and yet your brain feels plugged into a live electrical wire. Your mind is racing and sleep is absolutely impossible. You might write this off as a lack of willpower, or maybe just poor sleep hygiene. But the science reveals something so much more fascinating. This isn't a glitch. It's actually a highly evolved survival mechanism that is catastrophically malfunctioning in our modern world. Your body thinks it's saving your life, but from what?
Well, the answer lies deep in your brain, inside a network called the HPA axis. This is your body's master regulatory system for stress. When you're constantly exposed to low-level modern stressors, the endless emails, the traffic, the 24-hour news cycle, this axis literally gets stuck in the on position. It becomes chronically hyper-aroused, and this invisible, background hyper-arousal is the true engine driving your insomnia and your fatigue.
The chemical language this axis uses to communicate is cortisol, and honestly, we desperately need to rebrand this hormone. Cortisol is not just a stress hormone. It is the metabolic and circadian master switch for your entire body. In a perfectly healthy system, it spikes sharply in the morning to wake you up and give you energy, and then gracefully drops at night so your body can heal.
But look at the collision happening here. The paradox occurs because our ancient evolutionary biology is violently clashing with our modern environment. Ancestrally, we evolved with bright morning sunlight, heavy physical fatigue, and pitch darkness at night. But today, we endure chronic sedentary stress and relentless LED screens. We are actively tricking our body's ancient timekeeping system, commanding it to spike cortisol at 2 a.m. right when it should be at its absolute baseline.
Which brings us to Section 2. The invisible power of light. We need to understand how your eyes are actually biological clocks.
To understand why our internal timing gets so dangerously confused, we have to look at a hidden, microscopic mechanism right inside your eyes. Your eyes aren't just cameras for seeing shapes and colors. Deep within your retina, you have a specialized set of receptors containing a photopigment called melanopsin. Now, these receptors do not form visual images. Instead, they act as environmental light detectors. They catch photons of light and feed raw biological time data directly into your brain.
That raw data travels straight to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is your body's master clock. And here is the critical vulnerability. Your master clock relies on morning sunlight to anchor your biology for the entire day. But it is disastrously tricked by the blue light emitting from our screens. When you're staring at your phone at 10 p.m., your melanopsin receptors literally tell your brain that the sun is rising. That instantly halts your body's natural preparation for sleep.
Moving into Section 3, the stress and sleep axis, and the domino effect of dysregulation.
When artificial light tricks that master clock, it doesn't just make you a little groggy the next morning. It sets off a devastating, invisible domino effect throughout your entire physiology. A nighttime cortisol spike triggers a massive systemic cascade. Yes, it blocks restorative sleep, but the collateral damage is immense. By morning, it has triggered serious insulin resistance. And because cortisol shares a biological pathway with your sex hormones, chronic elevation actually steals the raw materials your body needs for testosterone and estrogen production. It even suppresses your thyroid's ability to regulate energy. So your metabolism, your immunity, and your reproductive health all take a massive simultaneous hit.
This leads perfectly into Section 4, the architecture of deep rest, focusing on physical repair and memory consolidation.
The reason this metabolic damage is so severe is because high cortisol physically blocks you from entering the critical regenerative stages of the human sleep cycle. You see, sleep isn't just an off switch, it's a highly active, structurally organized process. Your brain must progress down through lighter stages into N3 slow-wave deep sleep. Think of this as your biological repair bay, where the body physically rebuilds tissues and clears cellular waste. From there, you ascend into REM sleep, which is the state where your brain actively rewires neural pathways, regulates emotional trauma, and locks in your memories.
Now, when you miss out on this precise architecture, your entire metabolic landscape shifts overnight. You literally transition from a state of cellular repair and high insulin sensitivity into a state of metabolic emergency. Hunger hormones like ghrelin skyrocket, which aggressively drives you towards sugar and carbs the next day. Your fasting blood sugar elevates. Without proper sleep architecture, you aren't just resting poorly, you are biologically accelerating the aging process.
And we have to bust a major myth right here, the alcohol trap. Millions of people use a nightcap to combat that wired feeling at night. But alcohol is a biological trap. It might knock you out by acting as a chemical sedative, sure, but sedation is absolutely not sleep. Alcohol actively destroys the N3 and REM architecture you desperately need. It fragments your rest and causes severe glucose crashes while you're unconscious.
So let's get to solutions in Section 5, restoring your biological rhythms and reclaiming that hidden operating system.
How do we elegantly correct this biological confusion? How do we take our hands off the evolutionary panic button and intentionally reprogram our internal operating system for longevity and peak energy? It starts with a practice scientists call circadian anchoring. To reset that cortisol curve, you must flood your eyes with natural sunlight within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. This hits those melanopsin receptors we talked about and securely locks your master clock into daytime mode. Then, just as critically, you must implement a strict digital sunset by 8 p.m. You have to completely restrict blue light to allow your body's natural melatonin production to initiate.
But what if your nervous system is already deeply stuck? What if you are completely trapped in that chronic hyperarousal response? Well, the clinical gold standard, backed heavily by the research, is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. This is far more than basic sleep hygiene advice like keep your room cool. It is a highly structured psychological intervention designed to rewrite your neurological software. CBTI works by systematically retraining your brain. It utilizes sleep restriction to build up a powerful biological sleep drive, ensuring you spend 85% of your time in bed actually asleep, and it uses stimulus control to sever the subconscious link between your bed and your anxiety. You are quite literally teaching your nervous system that the bed is a place of profound safety and rest, rather than a battleground for survival. What we've really uncovered in this explainer is the most vital truth about human health. Your biology is a single, deeply interconnected web. Tiny, seemingly isolated decisions, when you view light, how you manage a stressor, how you protect your deep sleep. They don't just change your day, they rewrite your biological code. They dial down systemic inflammation, they protect your cognitive longevity, and they map out the exact trajectory of your future health. The invisible forces shaping your daily life are no longer a mystery. You now understand the machinery of your master clock, the double-edged sword of cortisol, and the profound restoration waiting for you in the architecture of deep sleep. You hold the code. The only question left is, how will you reprogram your system today?